Okay, this is the zoning board meeting of February 24th, 2015. I'll call this to order. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda as presented? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda as stated.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none opposed, the agenda is approved. We have the approval of the regular minutes of October 28th, 2014, which is the last time that we met. We had two appeals at that time. So do we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of October 28th, 2014?
I move that the regular meeting minutes of October 28th, 2014 be approved.
Support?
Do we have any support?
We have support?
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing no hearing no opposition, the minutes are approved. So now we're going to get to the appeal 15-001. It's for Dr. Khalid of 21430 East River Road, Grosse Ile, Michigan 48138. He is before the Zoning Board of Appeals for a variance to expand a non-conforming structure on Lot 154 of Supervisors Grosse Ile Sub Number 2 subdivision, as recorded in Wayne County Records, Township of Grosse Ile, County of Wayne, Michigan, also known as 21430 East River Road. Rick, you want to come up and state your name and your affiliation with Dr. Khalid?
I'm Rick Bowl, 29725 Bayview, and I'm the architect on this project, and I'll be representing Dr. Khalid tonight.
Okay. I understand that Dr. Khalid will be here, but we're going to proceed, with the process here and let him come when he comes. Okay? Tony, you want to give something or not? No?
Basically, to simplify it, any exterior improvement done on the house itself, it's a non-conforming structure, so they will have to go to the Zoning Board of Appeal for literally anything of a bump out of any kind.
Yeah, because it is a non-conforming lot
Right.
and building, both, right?
Primarily on the Church Road side, and the biggest discrepancy, they need a 40-foot setback, and they have basically a 31-foot setback, so that's the...
Okay.
Does it conform on the north side?
As without the improvements, yes. That's about it.
Now, we're talking about, when you're talking about the north side, we're talking about that portico on the north side. That's basically what we're talking about.
Okay.
And okay, so let's go on with that. Let's Rick, give us what's going on here with the project.
Okay, I think probably the easiest spot to start would be on the site plan, which is marked up in red and blue. Blue is the existing structure, and then the area that's outlined in red is what we're proposing. And we're here before you tonight, as Tony said, because the existing residence is a non-conforming structure. And to make an addition to a non-conforming structure, you have to come before the Zoning Board of Appeals, unless there are three criteria that are met. And I think those are very nicely reviewed in Brian's letter. And the three criteria are: the building is non-conforming on one side only. That criteria happens to be met. The non-conforming side provides at least 90% of the required setback. And then the third one is the proposed expansion complies with all requirements of the zoning district. That we comply with. The sticking point is the second item there, which is the setback off a church road is only 79% of what is required. There was a, should I use the, okay. As I I believe that there was a variance that took care of that setback off of Church Road. So we're here tonight to add a sidewalk here, a porch, a set of steps. This is a porch that's over the garage that's entered underneath, a portico that's on the north side, and a set of steps, as well as refacing the front of the structure and adding a second-story addition on the north side that's within the footprint of the existing house.
Rick, are you going to have a driveway from East River going up to the structure?
Yes.
So the existing driveway will stay there to a certain point?
Yes, it's going to become a parking area. So there will be two driveways, one off of East River, and then a driveway in this configuration that comes off of Church.
Because I noticed you didn't have it on your plot plan there,
Yeah, my
wasn't
portion of this
showing.
project, I mean, it's gone in several phases, as you know. There was a garage addition that's under construction, and I think this driveway was proposed at the time the garage addition was proposed.
It was.
Okay, I'm not involved with that piece of it.
And as far as you're not involved with all the culverts that they show here, that wasn't your bailiwick.
No.
Church Road basically was not yours.
Correct.
Church Road side
Correct.
is not yours.
My part is the stuff that's outlined in red.
Yeah.
There's been some discussion before this, so I might as well bring it up. The existing structure to the north is 6 feet away from the common property line, and this portico that we're proposing, which is just basically a raised entry gate. It's about 8 inches thick, and I'm thinking it's 9.5 feet tall, probably. Meets the zoning criteria for the setback off of the property line. However, it does not meet the zoning criteria for 18 feet between the two structures. Dr. Cleed is here.
Okay, Rick, let me ask you this.
Doctor, you want to come up and introduce yourself? And
Good evening, everybody.
good evening.
I'm Dr. Khaled, the urgent care. I don't know where we're at.
Well, we had just started describing the project, and we'd gone through the stuff that in red is the proposed, and we were kind of starting to talk about the portico that's on the north side of the structure.
Well, you know what?
So you can listen. Well, listen.
I guess when we had our preliminary discussions with the parties involved, we didn't look at this as much as a building extension as we looked at it as a fence. And there currently is a fence between the two common properties. So we weren't thinking that this was actually an extension of the building. Now, I'm not sure how the board feels about that, whether there's some difference of opinion on that, but it is true that with this portico constructed, we don't meet the separation between the two buildings.
Yeah, I saw that, and that was one of my questions, and I think along with some of the other board members, they had that question.
Besides that, I thought I saw that portico was 5 foot 8 inches. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. The portico itself sticks out from the building 5 feet 8 inches, and then it is 6 feet to the property line.
But that doesn't seem to add up. The property line seems to be 11 foot 7. Is that correct?
Yes, 11.7 feet,
Yeah, what's the radius?
which is
Okay. Not 11
Probably
feet
5
7
feet.
Not 11 feet 7 inches.
correct, 11.7 feet.
From the wall.
All right.
Is that, Rick, is that portico 8.5 feet from the wall? You got
About
feet?
5 feet, 8.5
feet. 5 feet 8.5, that's on the drawing, 5 feet 8.5.
If we look at the floor plan, which is sheet A1.2, it's a bit, there's an enlarged version of it. It sticks out 5 feet 8.5 inches from the building face, and then from this point to the property line is 6 feet. And that 6 feet was driven by the fact that the 6 foot is the minimum side yard requirement.
So it is not attached to the,
Well, it is attached to the house, yes. It is. You could argue that it is an extension of the house. I wish I could answer that no, it's not attached to the house.
And it has a foundation, right?
It's got a foundation.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
made of brick as well, just like the brick, it's made of brick as the.
It'll be masonry, yeah, I think it's probably stone at this point, but yeah,
Okay.
it's a,
Yeah, so for,
yeah, it's got a stone wainscot, and then
Yeah.
above that will be stucco.
so in my interpretation, it is part of the building.
I would have to agree with that.
that's how I would look at it also.
Okay, so we have an issue with the 18-foot separation.
We do. Although the only mitigating factor I could say, if that 18 feet is actually a requirement to be able to get a fire vehicle between the two properties, and I'm not real sure what the genesis of that 18 feet is, the topography here would prevent that, because it's, up a big hill and you just can't get there with a vehicle.
Yeah, that's not written into the code. The code just says 18 feet.
Yes, I understand that. I guess the only thing that I haven't mentioned, and I'm not sure it's a zoning issue, but it is an architectural issue, we are also adding a portico over the front door and redoing some windows in the front and changing the facing material on the building. The lower wainscot will be stone, and then above that will be stucco.
The only way that would become a zoning issue is if you had a setback problem, I think.
Yeah, it does
Right.
not encroach in the front yard.
I think, wouldn't it be safe to say that the work being done on the east and the west side of the house
It's fine.
is fine?
Yes.
Except for the fact that it's on a non-conforming.
That is correct.
So it's really that portico that causes the bigger problem.
It's the fence, that's my, there was a fence there at that line. What difference is like? This is actually going to be part of the fence, it's going to be, if you put wood, would it be a difference?
Dr. Collard, could you come up and
Yeah, my question, if this portico is wood, not built, it's like a fence, because there was a fence there at one stage, where that 6 foot. So if that is constructed of wood, would that make a difference? I mean, we could make it of wood, because this is actually just for the aesthetics.
making it out of wood, but would it be, so you're thinking that it would be considered to be a fence?
Yeah, I mean, because
Basically
this is
a
going to be
fence?
connected to the fence
Uh-huh.
with a fence-like material.
Okay, I can understand that.
The problem would be, if we were to even consider a fence, there wouldn't be a fence that high. We got a height problem with a fence that high. Tony, what's the fence?
It'd have to be.
6 foot?
6 foot, but
Max.
that would be max, and that would be 6 feet inside the property line.
It is 6 feet. So we can, if we make that 6 feet high wood, it won't interfere. See, as I said, this is an aesthetic issue. It was not like something that.
So you're, okay, and 6 foot in, that, if the portico is 6 foot in, we still have the 18.
Yeah.
Well, if we consider it part of the structure,
If
it's
you-
an 18-foot problem, the minimum spacing problem.
Well, if it's a fence,
If it's a fence, then
then you're okay.
you wouldn't have the minimum spacing problem.
Right.
But I got a question about it being a fence, and
Well-
so you got a small fence sticking out going from north to south, and it's going to attach to the building? Be a small
If
fence?
you were not to do the portico,
Oh,
but to do a fence, would you do that? And what, without the, actually, isn't it the covering, the roof that makes it more,
well, it hasn't got a roof. It's more just an entry.
It's just like this.
so it's open?
Yeah,
It's open
yeah, it's
all-
just open. There's no, it's just,
Yeah.
like, you know, like this. It's,
Yeah, it's for the
Okay.
looks. That's basically what you
Well-
got here.
Let me,
just like maybe 1
Bear
foot
with
wide.
me. The portico.
It's on the first.
No, I don't want that, I want the other side. Side view. Show two walls. Where's the? Show
Okay,
the two
here's
walls.
the,
That's the front.
okay.
That's the front. That's the front.
Is it the very front page? It might be in the very front.
What are you looking for, Jim?
I thought there was a page in here that showed, oh, here. That, the second page shows a three-sided, not counting the,
Is that A12? You're looking at A12?
yeah, A11.
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 You're looking at this foundation area?
Yeah, is that, and there's only gonna be the front?
The wall sits on top of this. The balance of this foundation is basically to support the slab that's an
Steps.
extension of the sidewalk. And
Oh.
that's because this
Okay.
grade is rolling off
Okay,
here.
so it'd just be, it's a single,
That's it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just in this area right
So it
here.
is what it looks like on the picture.
So it's like 9 inches thick or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
probably, 9 inches,
It's
yes.
2 widths of block, or
Two
brick,
width-
I mean.
2 widths of brick? Yeah,
Yeah.
nine, well,
Uh,
lengthwise, that's 12, that's 12 inches.
2 4-inch brick faces.
I think A1.2 shows it good.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you. I'm glad to see someone's more
A12,
familiar
yeah.
with my drawings than I am.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
I wonder if we could think about this as, you know how in some houses you'll see a lattice fence with a arched lattice type thing and a gate and it's covered with roses, and that's a bit about what the way we were thinking about this. Now, it actually grew a little bit taller than that whole approach to the thing, but
But not attached to the building.
Yeah.
yeah, that would not be attached to the building. So,
Okay, so we're talking about a 6-foot-high fence.
yeah, so if it were this sort of thing,
I'm trying to show a picture of what's, you know, a real picture in real life, how it looks. Remember that's the way we took it from. So if I can show it to the board, probably it would be easier to understand what we're planning to do here. Oh, Jesus, don't tell me I canceled it. Yeah, actually I did. But that's,
course.
that's what it was meant to be attached to the wall.
right, oh well,
Let me show it to you. So this one was meant to be like attached to the house. So to give it this look. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I had actually that one. That was.
What's that? Shows it good. Yeah.
But I still think your limiting factor is 6 foot. You're not going to get anything 6 foot.
That was my concern, is if you do the fence method
6
with
foot
the
high.
arch.
Well, 6 foot high. yeah.
6 foot high for a fence.
Yeah.
Correct, let me say, if you do the fence with an arch, the arch will have to exceed 6 feet in order to accommodate somebody walking beneath it. The arch will have to be possibly 8 to 10 feet high in order to achieve the look.
that's true.
So does that then violate the, if we give the approval of a modification that it's a fence, I don't think we can consent to exceed the fence.
It's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe Tony does. Is it 6 feet within 6 feet of the property line? Or
Right, so it has to be 6 feet inside the property line Nobody
But-
goes 6
but
feet.
the height of the fence.
itself.
6 feet max,
Right.
unless ZBA approval.
Right.
So-
But again, this is like the
Yeah.
pole of the fence. It's not the fence itself, and it's going inside the property, not towards the other people. So
Well-
it's going inside. So it's going away from the other people's property, the neighbors. So it's not going like their way, which is going to be 8 feet their way. It's going to be 8 feet going inside. So we're not approaching or encroaching on the
You're not,
neighbors.
the north side's not gonna have 8 feet.
Yeah, no. So the 8 feet is going to be towards the building, which
Yeah.
is to the south.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so the 6 feet would be maybe the pole, which is going to go this way, and then you're going to go up like this. It doesn't have to be an arc, it could be just going like this, arc upwards.
Well, let me ask you a question. How critical is this to the project?
It's not. It's not. It's not. As I said, it's aesthetics.
Because,
it's a change
because
to look of that.
the reason I ask that is there's some issues here, there are problems here.
Are you saying that we can,
Yeah, instead, yeah.
Let me ask a question, since I'm the new one. Could you have a slant down that's maybe not as pronounced as the square box on top of that, and the top of the arc be at the 6 foot, and then maybe it goes down to the max of maybe 4 inch at a point, and slopes up to the house to maybe a max of a foot, foot and a half, at a gradual slope?
The board has the approval to do that, but without board approval, the limit would be 6 feet tall.
Because that would definitely minimize that height issue.
Would you be able to do something without attaching it to the house?
Yeah, move it.
sure, I mean, if that's the,
I mean, it seems like, well, if you still got that
Still got
6
over
feet,
6 feet.
6 feet height, we get rid of the 18-foot problem.
You would get rid of the 18 if it's not considered,
If it was off the house,
yeah,
we'd get rid of the 18-foot minimum spacing. But we'd still have the 6 foot
the 6 foot limitation, which, yeah,
limitation for the fence.
which I'm not sure.
Which will be on that side only, because it's going to be going this way, so 6 foot from there is going to be still 6 foot this way.
What's nice harbor fighting over
It'd be less expensive.
Dr. Kelly, maybe you're misunderstanding.
Yeah.
The 6 foot is if it's there, whether it's going towards the neighbors or towards the house, the maximum height is the 6 feet. But
Understand
to
that
achieve
part.
the arch and to achieve the height to get underneath it,
You gotta
you
be
can't,
more.
you have to be more than 6 feet. So it's 6 foot no matter if it's next to your neighbors or next to the house, if it's a freestanding fence.
How wide is it, the entrance?
4 feet,
4 feet?
the arch is 4 feet, 4 feet wide, and
So if we make it 3 feet, then we are 7 feet away from the neighbor.
Yeah, but the height is where the
You
issue
still
is
have-
still
maximum height.
You can't go, I mean, well, the 7 feet, so, I mean.
No,
there's
you can't,
7
that's
feet.
the issue. If we keep it separate as a fence, we're saying that it's 6 feet no matter where you're at. So that's the problem, is the height limit no matter where it's at.
Yeah, that's why I asked you how important this is to you.
Not really.
Because I personally don't see, and you're doing this for aesthetics purposes, and then we're starting to make things this way and that way, and aesthetically, you're gonna end up with
Yeah.
something that's maybe not pleasing. So I don't,
Yeah, if you leave this, you can have the height, but you have the 18-foot spacing. If you take it off the house, you lose the 18-foot spacing, but you have the 6-foot problem.
yeah.
So, I mean, it does cause a problem, and so, again, how important is that to the whole?
Not really.
Yeah, I think we probably just delete that.
okay, what's
We
your,
would like to modify our proposal.
okay.
Yes, Mr. Ball, what would you like to do?
Some white out.
Well, based on the discussion today, I think we'd like to remove this item.
So you're gonna remove the portico
On the right side.
on the right side, on the north side. Okay, all right. You know, I love the east elevation. I mean, you really, that really
Yeah.
does a lot to that building.
Your house, I mean, that really does look nice. It's really going to change the looks of that whole corner.
Yeah, it's a corner. Should look nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's going to look very nice, yeah. Okay, so you, other than that, then the rest of the modifications to the structure, is everybody satisfied that we have
Yeah.
an understanding what the rest
Yeah,
of the project is?
With that removed, yeah, is there any other discussion?
Other than indicating that you're going to have that driveway from the East River, you know, as a parking area, I think you have to note that on the drawings.
Okay.
That driveway is already there.
The driveway is already there, yes.
But you're going to fill in some land, are you not?
Pardon me?
Aren't you going to fill in part of the drive, the area?
No, the intent, if you look at sheet A 1.1, which is the basement plan, the existing garage door will be replaced with a sliding glass door. We're going to put a trench drain in front of there to make sure we've got no water entry to the house. And then
Where's that drain going?
it'll go out open air to the, wherever we can get drainage out in the front yard.
So you got the elevation to do that?
Yeah. And then this concrete will probably end up being replaced here because we've got to put some new foundations in over here, so I think we probably will tear this up to some degree.
But what's there, you may put new stuff in, but staying within what you have now.
Correct, we would be
Yeah, you'd just be
replacing the existing driveway.
Okay, do we have any other questions from the board? You know, the only other thing is you know, we did talk about the neighbors to the north. They're not there, right? They're further. I don't know where they're. We gave them notification, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we gave. Okay, all right.
Did we get?
Yeah.
Did we get anything back from anybody that we gave notification to?
No.
Okay.
Could I ask one more question? Removing the portico from the north side, does that also remove the foundation and footing that would have been underneath that, or is that slab and footing still going to exist or be
It
proposed?
probably still is going to be there, certainly on the north and on the east side because of the grade change. There's some thought that there's an existing foundation there at the moment.
Existing foundation under that 42, there is existing foundation.
Yeah, that's the edge of the current slab that's there.
So does that exist, if anything new is installed there, does that then encroach on the 18-foot?
As long as it's not,
As long as it's not part of the structure.
Is that foundation, the east foundation, is that exposed?
Yes, to some degree.
This should be covered once we put that.
If your question is this slab higher than the adjacent grade?
Yes.
Currently, I think it is, by about a foot.
Yeah, about the foot.
So you got a foot differential there?
Yeah. So the intent is this deck will come off on a slab here so that you can actually go around the corner, so that this brick face will, or the stone face will be
So as far as
exposed now.
considering it, I guess the idea is considering it a structure that, you know, that would fall in line with a structure that would say it's, the 18-foot wouldn't be met, but
18-foot would be.
Well, that's a good question. I was always under the impression that if it was below a certain amount of inches above grade, then it wasn't a structure, it was a patio or whatever that determination would be. I'm not sure, Tony, if that's true or not.
I wouldn't consider that a structure. It's a foot above grade.
Yeah, it's basically a walk with a foundation underneath it.
Analogous to a patio?
Pardon me?
Analogous to a patio, as if a patio is
Correct,
put in,
yes.
it's not the structure?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so for our purposes, that we're considering that there's no structure on the north elevation. The portico, that's it, that's gone.
That's gone,
No structure.
no structure.
And we have a
Okay.
clear 18-foot, it meets an 18-foot requirement. Okay. Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, can we have a motion on the appeal?
I'll make a motion that appeal number 15-001 amended to, what do we want to say? Remove the portico on the north side. And with the, I'd like to add the following language to our amendment, if I can find it. Tony, do you, never mind, I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you. At the end of the motion, the wording, failure to complete or diligently work towards completion shall result in the loss of legal, non-conforming status unless good cause for the delay is accepted at a hearing before the Zoning Board of Appeals. And it's, I mean, what we're looking for is to get some end to these projects. We don't want to put a specific time limit, so that's not there, but we also don't want a project sitting around with nothing being done. So that's all that, as long as you continue to work on it, this never comes into play. But that's the purpose of it, is that there is continuous work. Or a delay that's, you know, out of your hands, but you're doing something. So I don't expect that that wording will ever come into play.
I understand.
Yeah, that's a due diligence thing.
Yep,
Okay. Okay.
so that's the motion.
Okay.
Support?
Do we have support?
I'll support it.
We have support. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing no opposition, the appeal passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Everyone has off.
Okay, we have an item 6 on the agenda, which is annual election of officers. We have chairperson, vice chair, and secretary. What I would like to do in this particular case is to and have somebody make a motion that we continue with the elected officers as we have them established in 2014.
And I will be glad to make that motion, that the current officers be moved forward to the future year 2015-16 and hold the same offices, chairperson, vice chairperson, and secretary.
Now, the only other thing is that we've got to have an acceptance. Bob?
I accept.
You accept, okay, and I accept the chair. And I think Gary probably, I haven't talked to Gary, but I think that he probably would agree.
If we vote in favor, he still can always turn it
He
down.
can turn it down, which I talked to him
Yeah.
last time, he wasn't here,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
So-
So, okay, so we have
We have the motion.
we have the motion, we have a second. Support?
Support.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion passes. So we do have our elected officers for 2015. Jim, you're gonna push that to the...
I will handle that at the board level.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, other than that, do we have any comments? Lori, do we have any things on the table yet for this year, coming year? Nothing? Oh, okay, all right. So with that, no comments, so can we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Support?
Support?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing no opposition. Meeting adjourned.
Has anyone ever said no to having
To
it adjourned?
adjourning?